Can I get a drum roll? Guys, I don't know if you can hear that drum roll at all. That's my hands on the table. However, I just want to say, hooray, Blood Lab Bootcamp is open. As of yesterday, January 5th, Blood Lab Bootcamp is now open for registration for 1 week only. From January 5th to 12th, I've opened my doors to my premier course, Blood Lab Bootcamp, where I teach you how to read your blood labs better, y'all, better than your doctor, and find the root cause of your gut health problems. If you've been following along to our podcast the last few months, a couple months, guys, I've been sharing every week different reasons why Blood Lab Bootcamp is so amazing. And so today's podcast is all about 5 reasons that you might not want to take Blood Lab Bootcamp or feel like you can't or it's not the right fit, but you still should. And so I'm going to give the 5 most common reasons that I hear people say, oh, I can't take that. I don't want to take that. And I'm just going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about that. However, if you have not heard much about Blood Lab Bootcamp, if you're like, what do you mean I can read my blood labs better than my doctor? Doesn't that sound presumptuous? I would encourage you go back to our basically last 8 episodes. Really encourage you to check out episode 66, 6 reasons your doctor is reading your blood labs wrong, plus how you can do it better, where I really do dig into some of the details on why I can even suggest that you might be able to read your blood labs better than your doctor. And I encourage you to also check out our episode on episode 67, where I share a client testimonial of a client of mine who we actually looked at her blood labs first before looking at anything else, and we found signs of everything going on in her health. And so I really think that's two or some of our best episodes for this whole series. We also have podcast episodes though on cholesterol, on acid reflux, on thyroid, on SIBO, on iron and vitamin D. So if any of those topics you're interested in and you want to know how can reading your own blood labs yourself improve your health, put power back into your pocket, and get you out of this just guessing in your health, go check out those episodes and also listen to this episode and sign up for Blood Lab Bootcamp because it's open now and I don't have a time for when the doors will be opening again on this course. So are you guys ready? Let's jump in. Welcome to the Better Belly podcast, where we find freedom from food restrictions, we increase energy in our lives, and we begin to feel more healthy and vibrant than ever by finding the root causes of our health problems. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a marathon runner, functional medicine health coach, certified craniosacral therapist, gut health nerd, lover of Jesus, and owner of Better Belly Therapies, a clinic based in Ann Arbor, Michigan that works with both virtual and local clients to help them achieve the best health of their life. I am here to walk with you on your journey to a better belly and a better life. We're going to go beyond popping a probiotic and just checking out our poop. In this show, we are going to go deep into gut transformation strategies that last for your entire life. If you are ready to feel your best, get ready to roll. You are in the right place. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. All right, guys. So today's going to be a pretty quick episode just on 5 reasons that I hear people say, I don't think I can take Blood Lab Bootcamp, or I don't know if it's for me, or I don't think it'll work, all those things. So we're going to talk about those things and my response, just because I wish sometimes people say something, I was like, ooh, I wish I could share this with everyone. So I am on the podcast. So number 1, the first thing I hear when I'm talking about Blood Lab Bootcamp and all of its benefits and reading your own blood labs is the very first thing people say is, I don't have blood work, or I don't have access to blood work. And I just want to let you know, and I've shared about this before on Instagram and on other podcast episodes, we have a solution for that. Number 1, if you do have a doctor and you know that you're in a relationship with them, we have a PDF you can hand them and say, please get these blood markers for me. You just hand it to them. You don't have to create it. You don't have to do anything. You just download it. It's in the first module that you work with us. Download it, print it out, hand it to them and say, please order these things. I will say we're also prepared for the fact that A, you might not have a doctor that you're in a relationship with, or B, your doctor might not be particularly inclined to ordering something that you ask for, which is actually 99% of the time that's the case. We just, most of the clients that I've been working with, doctors aren't always willing. They'll order like half of the markers or 3/4, and they'll miss and even just outright not order some of the ones that I even have marked for you guys are some of the most important things on that list. And so on top of that, we actually have a special relationship with a provider for blood work where we have you can get blood work, like all the markers that we recommend for an extremely low, affordable price. It's not through insurance, but because of that, it's actually better because you don't have to hassle with insurance. You don't have to get insurance to be like, we think we'll do this for you, or we don't think we'll do this for you. And you're like this weird limbo. It is so much better. And there's pretty much, I've seen clients literally pay more for blood work. Specifically, I've seen people pay upwards of 4 times more than this blood work is through this special provider. And just through insurance, 4 times more just through insurance, just because of how much prices are really exploded when you go through insurance, and so or inflated. So number 2 thing when it comes to, if you don't have access to blood work, if you don't even have a doctor, if you don't like doctors, if you just moved and you don't have a doctor, if your doctor's not willing to order anything for you, totally fine. You can get something yourself through us for pretty much the lowest price I know of anywhere. And lastly, if you don't want to do either of those things, neither of those are an option for you, you can use either old blood work or no blood work at all. You can still take the course even without blood work today, because what will happen is you will have blood work in the future. Like blood work is something that just happens, whether it's iron or thyroid or cholesterol or your white blood cell counts or your red blood cell count. These are the labs that everyone pretty much runs. Conventional doctors pretty much run every time there's a little bit something off, and they just want to know, what's your calcium like? What's your potassium like? And yet they're also not using those markers in a very functional medicine kind of way. And so they're just really missing stuff. And again, I would encourage you to go back to episode 66, 6 reasons your doctor is reading your blood labs wrong. And we'll have a link in the show notes for that if you have not heard that episode yet. But not a dig at doctors, but just being realistic about the problems we're running into in receiving good health care as people looking for good health care. Number 2, the second thing that I really hear when talking about Blood Lab Bootcamp is, my blood work shows nothing. Like, this would be a waste of time. I don't want to take your course. And what I really hear when someone says that is that there's this ingrained, demolished faith that your body makes sense. And also this problem of gaslighting in the medical field. And gaslighting actually comes, I believe, from a movie where this guy is trying to convince that his wife that she's crazy by turning on and off these lights, like these neon lights, which they're filled with gas, so gas lighting. He's turning on and off these neon lights, and she thinks she's seeing light. And then I haven't seen it. I don't really like horror movies, but the idea is that she thinks she's seeing light, but then he'll turn them off, and so she'll look outside and she doesn't see anything. And he's doing this as a way to get her to divorce, or have some reason to divorce her or something, whatever. But it's this woman's being terrorized by her husband, and it's called gaslighting. And so the medical field and the conventional medicine might not be trying, they're not aggressive, yeah, let's just gaslight everyone. That sounds cool. But it's happening, unfortunately. And so when I hear someone say, well, my blood work shows nothing, my doctor already looked at it, go back and listen to episode 66, because there is so much to uncover that's not being uncovered in the standard way to read blood work. A lot of times when doctors are reading blood work, they are looking for big baddies. And so their scope of, is something problematic here, is they're looking for a bomb to have gone off in your blood work, when we're thinking on a scale. And yet usually when you are struggling with chronic illness and just this low grade, but it's chronic, right? fatigue and skin problems and hormone problems and bloating, like it's not going to look like a bomb. It's going to look like something more mild, but not like mild as in, oh, I don't actually feel that bad. No, you still feel quite poorly. And so that's what I do here. So your blood work does show something. Your body is inherently, it all makes sense all the time. And I just find that that's one of the most emotional aspects of our clients when they work with us in our office and with us doing blood, like functional lab testing, is the emotional gravity of, oh my gosh, this is all connected. This all makes sense. Like it's always made sense. And now I know just the details of why. And that's why I've shared our testimonial podcast on here, even episodes, specifically episode 67 with my client, Jessica, who had endometriosis, brain fog, eczema, low energy, irritability, sleep problems. She had more than all of that. And in 3 months, we fixed it 40% improvement, like average, not even just like 40%. That was just her average amongst all of those symptoms. And we started with blood work and we saw it in her blood work and we used her blood work to say, yes, let's do more. We're on the right track. So all I can say is, yes, you have something going on. Your body makes inherent sense. And that if there is that disbelief inside of you, first off, I sympathize with it, but that doesn't mean that's the inherent truth. There is so much more going on. Number third thing I hear is some concern about, like, I don't have a medical background. And this course was actually specifically designed for people without a medical background, because there's like some higher level blood work courses that I've taken on how to read blood work, and they definitely, like, the terms that they use and the pacing of the course, there's a lot of stuff that they are assuming you have a medical background. I really try to address all the lingo and the medical lingo that can creep in and break down some concepts into either separate videos sometimes or a couple extra slides, so that you are cut up and you do feel that you're getting an appropriate amount of scientific basis for understanding things, but you're not like being blown out of the water or like clearly feeling like you're in the wrong place. Like, I should not be in this course right now. It's more about the ABCs of your blood work, powerful ABCs that if your doctor used, you would actually like maybe be getting somewhere. And so it's not that it's so advanced that that's why it's effective, because it's so advanced. It's actually so basic that's why it's effective, which is just crazy, but that's what's happening. Again, as a reminder, the medical system, conventional medical system in America is really developed for the big stuff, the life and death stuff. They're trying to keep you alive, but not necessarily keep you healthy. And so they're literally the scope and the sensitivity of the tools and of the mindset of doctors in the conventional health system a lot of times is it's too broad. It's not fine-tuned enough. And so I teach you how to do that from a functional medicine perspective in a way that is designed for you to understand it without a medical background. Number 4, I do hear costs, like, hey, this costs money. And first I want to say, if you go to a restaurant and they charge you money for food, are you like, oh, you charged me money for food? You're like, no, you know that for you to go to a restaurant and for them to give you something, they give you service, they give you the actual food. They give you food that's not just like a grocery store food. It's like cooked and prepped and maybe presented nicely. It depends on the restaurant, but like they're giving you something. And so you're paying for it. And this is something that it took time for me to put together. And also, but way more importantly is, what is the cost of not moving forward? What is the cost of continuing to guess at what your health needs, going to another blog post, going to another Facebook group, going to another doctor's appointment? I actually asked my clients at the end of our 6 months working together in our foundations program, I asked them, please, can you estimate the amount of times that you've saved or maybe like gained back? It kind of depends on the client, but the amount of time that you have back after working with us. And on average, we usually get a 70 to a 90% like amount of their time back. And that has to do with, how much less time they're in pain, so that they can then cook dinner for their family and not be distracted. Like I had a mother that I was working with, and she'd be cooking dinner and then get this intense abdominal pain and just have to go lay down. And she didn't know when the abdominal pain would go away. And so it like inhibited her ability to cook dinner and support her family, to be with her family during dinner, to eat dinner herself. Like, I mean, that's hours of time. That's also not just time. There's like a social aspect to it that you don't get back that dinner. Not to be like depressing, but if it happens over and over again, you're noticing like it's being chiseled away at this time with family or this time with friends. We talk about, we see a difference in time of our clients, like not being able to get up in the morning or getting really tired at night, and just now being able to wake up an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on the client, earlier with energy, because they're sleeping better and because they're not being depleted by all the problems going on in their body. We are losing time where there's a cost to not having answers, and there's a cost in energy, like searching blogs, feeling frustrated, being unable to go to yet another party. Like your energy is so low, not being able to exercise, not being able to move forward, not being able to get out of the house, just not even wanting to be with people because you don't feel well or because your mood's been impacted by everything going on. It literally costs money to continue to guess what's going on. Because remember, Blood Lab Bootcamp, it's not just like, I don't know, another cute like 10-day smoothie cleanse. It's actually teaching you how to be your own best detective, your own best investigator in your health. And so Sherlock Holmes doesn't use like a 10-step protocol on the same thing. He uses observational skills, and he uses specific pieces of knowledge and maybe interviewing or whatever it is, but every case is different. And if you need Sherlock Holmes, by the way, your case is not abundantly simple. There is an answer that probably by the end of your time watching a Sherlock episode, you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Or you reading the book or whatever, you're like, oh, you can look back and see it all makes sense. Well, of course it makes sense because it's the right answer. But until you know that answer, it's not obvious. And that's what Blood Lab Bootcamp is about, is actually using tools to not just take someone else's words for something, whether that's the blog post or the doctor's appointment, but learning how to be your own best observer inside of yourself, both looking at your blood labs, but also how I teach you guys how to correlate it to your symptoms, because your symptoms are some of your best pieces of information. And it also costs emotions to not move forward. There's like the emotions behind repeated infertility, the emotions behind ongoing like difficulty going to work and just like being miserable at work, or being embarrassed about your body or certain smells it's making, or not feeling pretty. The loneliness involved in a health journey where you're not making traction and people are kind of giving up on you. People as in like maybe health practitioners or even family and friends. They're like, we don't know what to do for you anymore. Frustration, but that at not knowing what options you even should be taking anymore because everything just feels like it's not working. That is the cost of not knowing, of not getting these details. And I created this course because I was really hearing people say, well, I'm not sure if I need to do functional lab testing, and I'm not sure if I really want to jump into something bigger and deeper. And this is a really great way to just say, hey, it's dipping your toe in the water. And not only that, it's not just like an appointment with someone where they're like, yeah, even if you had someone, yeah, your blood work looks like blah, 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 and we found this, and that, and it really suggests this, and that, and this is what I recommend. That would be awesome, right? But now you can do it yourself, and you can do it for yourself for the rest of your life. I mean, how amazing is that? I've already been tracking my own blood work. I've had my own clients track their own blood work as we're working together. It's been really powerful for them. And so there is a cost, and the cost is ask yourself, is the cost higher when you don't move forward? What is that cost in time? What's the value of your time? What's the value of your own happiness? And what's the value of your own ability to not be in pain every day? And then number 5, what I really hear is, can this really work for me? And I put this one last because this one, I really feel when someone asks it. Like I feel on a deep, deep level, because what you're asking is actually speaking to this disbelief and even hurt of nothing has worked so far. There is despair involved with that. There's discouragement, disappointment. And so when I want to first say, when people share that with me, is, hey, I hear you. I've been there. I've done all the work and then not seen results. I have tried the things that other people said should work, whether that was the nutritionist or the doctor or the gastroenterologist or the blogger. I've been there. Here's a couple reasons that Blood Lab Bootcamp is different. Number one, this is not about someone telling you what to do. And I kind of already covered this. This is not like 10 steps to a better gut or like 10 smoothies, 10-day juice cleanse. This is about learning how to evaluate your own body and to test and find out exactly what's going on. So it's malleable. I actually don't know what you're going to find in your blood work. I know you're going to find something. I don't know what you're going to find. That's why we do the test. And that's good. The good thing about tests is we develop them because they work. Like if you want to test if the oven's on, you put your hand over it a couple inches so you can see if you feel heat without hurting yourself. We test things all the time and we use tests that work. And so I'm merely teaching you how to use this test and apply it in a way that works, because it is valuable information. It is relevant, just like taking your temperature when you're sick is a reasonable test. So number one, just a reminder, one reason why Blood Lab Bootcamp is just different than other things you've tried is it's not me telling you what to do. It's actually it's about you learning how to test your body and you learning how to evaluate it. Number two is, and I guess I already said this, I wrote it down and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, these are actually all pretty similar. Maybe it's all one point. Blood Lab Bootcamp is different. But like I said, I don't know what you're going to find in your blood work. That was a specific point. So as in, when you say, is this really going to work for me? I'm not going to be like, yeah, this is what you're going to find in your blood work and this is how you're going to respond to it. I'm like, well, these are the things you could find in your blood work. And I'm going to teach you for everything that you could find, what you could do about it. Like, what are your options? And I actually really do dig into this, as in I talk about functional lab tests that exist that we do with our clients that you could ask for. Look, you don't have to work with us, but if you want to find a functional doctor, see if they do something. I will admit we do work with clients who've worked with functional doctors and they haven't gotten results. I don't think that's the case with every functional doctor, but I even just got on a call recently with a woman, and her daughter. They are working with us in the foundations program, and we were doing a reveal or the results call of what we found in her lab. So when I was recommending, the mother is a nurse practitioner, blanking what that's called. She's a nurse practitioner. And so she's in the medical field. She understands that they've actually already worked with some other, more integrative physicians. And she literally told me at the end, I was blown away, but I also not, because I've heard this multiple times now, hey, this was more thorough and more complete than anyone we've worked with. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm so awesome, but just to say, that's what I put into Blood Lab Bootcamp, that you would actually feel that about the course. You would feel that even about yourself, like, oh, this is more thorough of an evaluation and I'm just me. And I want to encourage you, you are you, but you are so much more, and you are empowered and you can make a difference in your health. And you're able to read blood labs just like you can read the text in that led you to this podcast episode. You know what the podcast episode title is. Maybe you read some of the show notes description. You read something on Facebook. Like, you read even just to get around your phone and your app, let alone reading signs on the road and reading books. And so you do that without thinking, and that can be the case for you as well in learning how to read blood work and blood labs. So if you want to hear more on, and you're still like, wow, like, will this really work for me? I would encourage you, go listen to the podcast episode. I have episode 67 on my client, Jessica, who and I've already mentioned it multiple times, but that's just a very specific testimonial that we used. You can listen to my testimonial on myself, on how I used my blood labs when I miscarried the earlier, actually pretty much a year ago. It's still crazy to me thinking as this podcast episode comes out, it's going to be early January. I was miscarrying around this time last year, and about a month after all, if it's a year ago, about a month from now, I would have taken my blood work and been like, look, what happened? Is there any information that I can sift out from here? And there were some really powerful things that I found in it. And so I shared that in episode 73, and that came out the day before Christmas. And I actually miscarried that week. That was the week I miscarried. And I talk about how I use my own blood work because I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't like, oh, I'm so amazing, I just know everything. It's like, no, I had to be like, no, please give me a test so I can know what's going on and not guess and not relive this miscarriage. And now, if you guys know and listen to that podcast episode, I already forgot what I said, episode 73, you will know I'm pregnant and actually in my second trimester, and really have noticed a huge difference even in the quality of my pregnancies in their first 2 months, which is what I had for my first one, and really, really so cool. You can also read testimonials on our page for Blood Lab Bootcamp, which is betterbellytherapies.com/blood. You can click the link in the show notes. That is going to take you to just our page where you can read the details, how many modules are in it. And if you're more of a visual learner, you can go there. But we have four or five, maybe 6. I haven't, when I created that, we've been adding more, but at least 4 testimonials on there from clients who've worked with us on how this work has really changed their lives and their health. So yes, this can really work for you. So exciting. That's the short answer, but you guys know I'm like so detail oriented. Go for the long answer like first every time. It frustrates some people, but I love it. I love those detailed answers, and I'm sure you guys do too because you're listening. So that is it. Those are the top 5 things that I've kind of heard with people at the Blood Lab Bootcamp. I hope that answers some of your questions. If cost is a concern for you, also a quick note, we do have a payment plan. And so I want you to be able to afford this. This is a new year, new you. Anything that you are going to, if you're thinking about, hey, I want to invest in my health, I want to go to a gym or buy some new shoes, like let this be a part of that process because it's going to support everything. If you are having a hard time losing weight, it could be because of what's going on inside of you, not even just like how many calories you burned at the treadmill or what you're eating exactly. And if you're having problems with cravings can actually be not you, like you, I don't know, the personhood of you. It could actually be pathogens in your gut, and your blood work would show that. And all the time, you can go back and listen to a podcast episode I had with a client of mine, Abby Herman, and one of her top symptoms was sugar cravings. And she was like, Alison, I just want you to give me the willpower to do this. And I'm like, look, it's not about willpower. It's about actually finding out what's going on in your body and creating ease. Health should be a state of ease because not health is a state of dis-ease or disease, right? So we're going to get you out of disease or out of dis-ease. We're going to get you into state of ease and make 2022 not only your healthiest year ever, but also like your easiest year of health. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, paradigm shift, easiest year of health ever, that health just comes to you because everything's being set up right in your body, and your skin's able to glow, and you're able to lose weight. You're able to think clearly, have energy in the morning. You don't need coffee. You don't need to slog it. You don't need at least a therapist to make you do it or someone to smack you. You just need health in your body. So that is it for today's podcast episode. Go check out bloodlabbootcamp.com/blood and register for Blood Lab Bootcamp. I would love to see you in there. I would love you to be a student of mine. You get 2 live calls with me where you get to review your blood work, your evaluation of your blood work with me. Make sure, everything's watertight. Make sure you're seeing everything you want to see. And and interact with other students there. And you get all the modules that are included. There's 5 modules specifically on health. We have 4 additional modules on, hey, how do you talk to your doctor about all of this and what steps do you take next? And you get handouts, you get a spreadsheet to keep all of your blood work organized on, because I'm not going to make you make that. You just get it. It's part of the course. And so it is a full, A to Z course, really giving you all the tools you need to succeed in both evaluating your blood work, but then actually being able to make some changes that make incredible change in your life. I'm so excited to see you guys in Blood Lab Bootcamp. See you guys there. All right, guys. Well, if you love this episode, we have so much more coming down the line, not specifically on Blood Lab Bootcamp today. That's when it ends, our big series on that. But we have client testimonials coming up this month. We have guest experts coming on. We have so much more. And so subscribe so you can hear all of those things. And if this episode touched you, or if you want to take Blood Lab Bootcamp with a friend, awesome. So exciting. I know that we've had mothers and daughters take it together, and friends, and it's been really awesome seeing them just have all these aha moments about themselves, about each other, and really creating that like a communal experience of growing in your health and growing in your health knowledge. So take a screenshot, share it with a friend. And other ways that you can support this podcast is by leaving a rating and review. Most of y'all listen on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Just go down, click leave a rating, and write a little review. Anything you like about this podcast, how it's changed your life, do you recommend it? All those things would be awesome, and it lights me up every time I get to see a little review there from y'all. Other ways that you can stay in the conversation with us is by following us on Instagram and Facebook at Better Belly Therapies. I love connecting with y'all there, and it means so much if you drop by and said hi. And lastly, just a reminder of our motto. Said so many years ago to one of my clients, said, miracles are immediate, but healing takes time. And since I haven't explained it in a while, basically just saying, hey, we really want miracles. We want that one supplement to work. We want that one appointment with that one person to work. But healing, it's a process, and that's okay. And what we're just looking for is a trend in that process. So I want that trend for you for 2022. Welcome to the new year. Welcome to Blood Lab Bootcamp. I can't wait to see you guys in there. See ya.